Thanks for joining me for Behind the Mic with Nash, a look at the Texas Red Dirt music scene. I'll look at what's hot on the scene, behind the scenes in the music business, behind the scenes in the music promotion business, and behind the scenes in radio. I'll dish the dirt, and I'll probably ruffle some feathers, but I will always tell you the truth and how it happened to me and how it happened to others. Now, kick back and enjoy Behind the Mic with Nash. All right, y'all, welcome to another edition of Behind the Mic with Nash, and we kind of finished up the radio journey thing on the last episode, and this episode I decided that I would catch up with my old morning partner over in Corsicana, Mr. Carey Dean. How are you doing, my brother?
And if I ain't better, I'll be you, brother. What's going on?
Oh, you know, just trying to get the word out there about everything that's going on in the world these days.
Lots going on. Now, we ain't going to talk about everything in the world. We do not have that kind of time.
We do not have that kind of time. No doubt. Way too much laughing involved in that, all that stuff there. So in the last edition there, I kind of told everybody how you and I got together and how at first that we were kind of both of us really kind of apprehensive about that. So kind of tell everybody your side of that whole thing of how we got put together.
Well, coming back to the thing, I mean, just you and I had a little meeting, you know, and we both had been running a bunch of hearsay. And so I said, look, man, all I'm looking for is that chance. And then after we first got together, that first show or so, you know, everybody's like, well, wow, we weren't expecting that. And we weren't either, you know, but it bounced out as a radio go. It
was, man. It was like, that's what I told everybody. I was like, well, it's kind of that first show was kind of feeling each other's sense of humor out and our style and everything. And that after that second show, man, it was nothing but turning and burning, wasn't it?
Yeah, we made it work, man. You know, for what, 11, 12, 13 years, whatever it was.
Yeah, a long time, man. That's for sure. So you know, the thing I always told everybody about you is like you're probably the most quick-witted person that I've ever met in my entire known existence. And you could take a story, and it was the weirdest thing because you and I had this way of communicating that a lot of radio people really don't. They just kind of watch each other, you know, and we could be over here fiddle farting around while the other guy is telling a story or something like that, and then you just look at each other and we just do our finger in the air. It's like, I got the out, you know. It's the craziest thing.
Yeah, and and still, you and I, a lot of our ideas came up on the sidewalk. And speaking of quick wit, I can tell a real quick story that kind of shows how it worked. Anyway, JoJo and I are sitting outside on the sidewalk having a little smoke break, and a big old FedEx truck comes around the corner. You know, they always rub their door open that one side so they can hurry and get out and throw a box at somebody. So there's two chicks in the FedEx thing, in that big old truck. And I said, look at there, at least two X's are getting fed.
We always said that some of our best bits were on the sidewalk out front smoking a cigarette, man.
We've come up with sales packages, we come up with ideas, we've come up with all kinds of stuff, and all happened right out there on the sidewalk. But that's going to show, show prep, comes from everywhere. And that's one thing that you and I are really, really good at. I mean, because we took personal stories, that happened outside the studio, weren't relying on show prep all the time, and just relaying live stories and just having a good time with it, and having a real good time.
Yeah, no doubt. And it was so weird too, because there would be something so short, but you and I could add everything that we had to add to it and make it even 10 times better than the original news story that came out.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. I think my favorite story, and you and I have talked about this many, many times, I think my very favorite story of all time that you and I did, I had read this story and I gave it to you because I had the perfect out for this story. And I said, look, I know this story inside and out. I want you to get that familiar with the story and then tell me the story, and I'm going to have a few questions. Okay. And I said, you're going to know the story as well as I do. All you have to do is answer these questions. And so the story happened, of course, in Florida. And there was a woman that was on the way out to see her new boyfriend. Uh-huh. And she was driving a truck, and her ex-husband was riding in the truck, and he was going to bring the truck back after he dropped her off. And her new boyfriend's late.
Yeah.
And so, it was out there in the Florida Keys. There's one road in, one road out. And so anyway, she decided since they were going to go out on the boat, that she needed to clean up her bikini line and she was driving the truck. And so she asked her ex-husband that was riding with her to hold the steering wheel while she cleaned up her bikini line. And you were telling this story.
Yeah.
And so anyway, while she was cleaning her bikini line, the ex-husband was reaching across there to steer the truck. They got into an accident. And I said, no, let me understand this. And that we kind of set it back up. I said, and they had an accident? He said, yeah. I said, anybody get hurt? And he said, nope. I said, close shave. But we're able just to take those kind of things and work with them, and breathe new life into them.
Right, yeah, and some of the weird news stories were always the best, some of the best ones, man. Because golly, there's just so many idiots in this world, man. That just they gave us radio gold, man.
Talked about one today where a guy came home. He didn't know his mother-in-law was there at the house visiting. He heard his wife's music playing in the bathroom. Found she was in the shower. Decided he'd jump in the shower with her because he needed a shower too. And it turned out to be his mother-in-law. Ooh,
bad mistake there, man.
Yeah. I said, man, Christmas gonna be really awkward, man.
Don't you know? Well, we used to do a bit. I got this idea from the Cat in Oklahoma City, and they used to do an old bit back years ago when I was growing up, and even in the radio business up there. It was called Masterpiece Theater. So Carrie and I decided that we were going to do this, and you would take these jokes, these long jokes, and separate them out into 2 different parts, sometimes 3 or 4 different parts, and we would get the entire office people involved in this thing too. Yeah. Some of the funniest things in the world just came out of jokes from the backside of the fold out in Playboy magazine or something,
Yeah. But I'm hoping maybe that for this deal here that you can find. I know that you and I can both find those, but I hope that maybe you'll play one of those.
Yeah. I've got I found a bunch of them the other day on our SoundCloud account, so I've downloaded some of those. I'm gonna play one here in just a minute, and man, we had some good ones. And the cool thing is we worked with so many people in the office over the years that were just so willing and ready to just get in and jump in there and help out with it.
Yeah, we always made them look bad.
Yeah. And they didn't even know it until post-production was done and we were playing it on the air.
Yeah, but we were the Mornin Fiasco, so we call this thing the Fiasco Piece Theater. And we use the actual, Masterpiece Theater music.
We did.
And we always had great sponsors.
Yeah, we did.
I think we had Oscar Bear Baloney. Our Baloney has a first name, but our second name is different.
Yeah, and we would always end it with this coming up on the next episode of Fiasco Piece Theater when the boys are, and then it would be something totally out of right field. You would never hear any of that on the next episode either.
I think my favorite one was they said and join us next time on Fiasco Piece Theater when you hear our thespian say, and then you say, "Ooh, that water sure is cold." And I go, "What water?"
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the whole creative process behind the scenes of a morning radio show. We get our basic show prep,
right,
and then you and I would just kind of expound on that. How does that still work with you today?
Well, I get the story and I look at them, and I want to do something totally different, totally creative. And so, I just don't read the story and take it at its surface. You have to add some things to it, or make it be, or even make it more ridiculous or something, because the people you're telling stories about, they're not listening.
Right. Yeah.
You can make up anything about these people you want to. So that's what you do. You look for something that you can work with. That you can add to, just like that story today. We're talking about the guy getting into the shower with his mother-in-law. That's the only story we did for that break. On that Weird News break, we usually do at least 2 stories. And if we have an artist in studio, sometimes we'll have them do 1 too. But anyway, on this one, on that creative process, you just look at it. It's like we did, like we're talking about the close shave thing. You look at it and you just figure, what can you do to make this story even more fun and more weird than it really is?
Right.
So the way my mind works, I just started going through the process of
Yeah. And that's funny. With your process, you never know where that process is going to end sometimes either.
And there have been times when I've gone there lately, I would say, nope, not even going to say anything. It's way too easy. And, and they know you to say that. By listening to the story, they pretty much know what you're going to say.
Yeah.
That's one thing people used to say to you and I all the time. Go, man, I can't believe y'all said that. And we're like, we didn't say that. We just made you think we said it.
Yeah, exactly. That's part of that, as I've said in the past, walking right up to that line of that you're not supposed to do to where you're okay. Yeah.
I waited
many times. One toe over the line.
I waited many times for that phone to ring and it just didn't. So I'm like,
yeah. After we do a bit, we'd both look at the phone and go, well, we didn't get a phone call that time, so we're okay.
No meeting is called. Nobody's showing up. HR's not outside, so we're good.
Right. Yeah. A guy standing outside with his hand out waiting for us to drop the key in there or nothing.
Handed us a box.
Oh, man.
But the process is fun. And one thing that you and I have always done really, really well is just take life experiences or personal beliefs or sometimes we would even say, okay, here's the argument. Which side of it do you want? And we would dedicate ourselves to that, to that.
Yeah, and people actually thought we were fighting and arguing in there.
Yeah.
We turned the mics off and just die laughing because it's like, man, they got it.
We thought y'all were going to fight, so you give her a high five and laughing.
Yeah, no kidding. And it was funny too because we go out in public somewhere and everybody was like, "Man, we heard y'all arguing about that thing the other day. Were y'all about to really going to kill each other?" It's like, no. Okay, so right now I'm going to go ahead and play an argument that we had on the air that people actually thought was real. This is where we're talking about gravy. Yes, we got this big stink argument going on around here again.
Yeah, we do.
Well, because you have a stinky argument is the problem.
He does. He don't have a leg to stand on.
No, I got two legs to stand on.
He got a communistic leg to stand on is what you got.
Okay, look, if you go eat a chicken fried daggum steak and it's got gravy on it.
You're supposed to.
Hold on a second. I'm trying to explain.
Yeah, you're not good.
You ain't got no splaining.
You're fixing to have the whole rest of the world on your ass real quick like you watch.
Oh, share this right here. Oh, he gonna come in.
Hey, he's a connoisseur, can't you tell? Of everything.
I'm a gravy expert, baby.
You go down there and get blood today, you're gonna get gravy. By the way, Holiday Inn call. They want their shower curtain back. Anyway, the thing is this right here. Okay, you order a chicken fried steak. It's got gravy on it. Cool. Yep. I am awesome with that. Yep. But then they bring you mashed potatoes, whatever you want to call them, and they put gravy on those too. They don't have to put that gravy on those potatoes. It's already on a steak.
But you don't want to take the gravy off the steak and put on the potatoes.
Do you eat one thing at a time, or you like big skinny?
All at the same time.
I do too. Or you like big skinny, just suck the whole plate down your throat.
He just turns the plate up like a hubcap.
But what I'm saying is that if they do that to me and don't ask me about it, I'm not going to throw a fit because they bring it that.
I do.
And you threw a fit.
He does. He sits there and just makes a big spectacle right there in the restaurant.
If I'm paying for something, I want to be able to.
You do it when you ain't paying for it.
Exactly. That's true too.
That's the whole argument right there. You're going to pitch a bitch in there about something that's being given to you.
I understand that, but the lady was standing right there. Would you like gravy on your potatoes? No, ma'am,
I
would not.
Are you 5? Hey, you're an adult. If you didn't want it, you should have manned up and said, no gravy.
I did. That was the thing.
She was giving it to you. She don't have to ask you.
She would give her something I didn't ask for.
Eat it. You're going to eat it or you ain't going to eat it.
Okay, she's 75 years old. If she would have taken her teeth out and leaned over the counter to make out with you, would you take an ass? She just giving it to you.
That ain't got nothing to do with cream gravy.
Yes, it does. Some things you just don't want.
Y'all going to fight, so you give her a high five and laugh.
Yeah, no kidding. And it was funny too because we go out in public somewhere and everybody was like, "Man, we heard y'all arguing about that thing the other day. Were y'all about to really going to kill each other?" It's like, no.
And one thing we did too is because we spent so much time, you and I both at shows and on stages in front of people and stuff like that. We were able to take some of the stuff that we're doing in the studio that most people thought were fake a lot of times, and we show them it was real. Like for instance, one time I got mad. I was with this chick and she never would, get her toes painted the way I want them painted, And so I decided that to show her, I would just get mine painted. So you and I got a hold of somebody, I don't remember who it was. but they came to the studio and painted my toenails black and put skulls on both big toes.
Yes.
And we get out to a show with, I think it was Brandon Ryder's birthday, as a matter of fact. And we're at the Gators, at the up front part over there. And somebody in the crowd were up there singing happy birthday to Brandon and all this stuff. And somebody was like, hey, Carey Dean, did you really get your toenails painted? And I just threw my shoe off and showed them, so I think that's one thing that by doing the kind of things that we did, we just seemed really, really authentic, and people got that.
Yeah. I tell you, one of my favorite bits, and it still comes up in my memories today, was when I was getting ready to go on a cruise and got my back waxed in the studio live on the radio.
And we both got it done. We found out who the man was that day.
Woo, son. I kept telling the lady, though, I was like, don't get up around my neck. And that was the worst part, man. She got right up there on the neck and just made me bleed, man. It was, oh, my God, it was terrible.
What's funny about that, I was out, I guess it was probably it was a little over a year ago. I was out someplace at this restaurant, and somebody called me over to a table. And I'm like, yeah, how's it going? I said, aren't you Carey Dean? I said, yeah. I said, and the girl said, I thought you were. She said, me and some of my girlfriends I worked with, we came in and waxed yours and Nash's back that day. She said, I will never forget that. That was so much fun. But we would do something like that all the time, And, so when we get out in the open, people want to ask about it and talk about it. So, what we did was, and because we were so crazy and doing stuff like that, we were unpredictable. And so that was one of the draws, is that they listened because they just did not know what the hell was going to happen.
Right. Yeah. My wife today, Kim, was telling me that. She said, man, it was funny because we literally didn't know what you guys were going to do next. And I'm like, well, hell, half the time we didn't know what we were going to do next either. But that was the beauty of flying by the seat of our pants, because we did that. It was kind of prepared, but kind of mostly not prepared. It was just, we just went with it.
So, when I give you the wink, ask this question or something like that, so go with it.
And there's a lot of times, because we always had the bad joke of the day, sometimes you'd laugh your head off, and sometimes it would be silence. Oh, yeah. And it would be like crickets.
Well, it's called incredibly bad for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, didn't you get it? Oh, yeah, I got it.
You don't want people to expect too much, but
well, definitely with our morning show, they didn't expect a whole lot out of us. But okay, so earlier we were talking about Fiasco Piece Theater and how we pieced it all together and put the sound effects and the music bed and all that kind of stuff together. So this is a Fiasco Piece Theater.
My name is Bertha Dimplebottom, and welcome to yet another production of Mornin Fiasco Piece Theater. This production is brought to you by the Nose Mower. Hey, it's self-explanatory. Go by your favorite retailer and pick out a nose mower today. Oh my God. Anywho, we will join our thespians, that means actors, as they play their first female parts, so to speak, in a production called Hairdo Travel Agent. The boys will be playing Amanda, the sales chick. Why me? As Amanda and Delaney, the chick up front, as Delaney. One is a hairdresser and one is getting her hair did and planning a trip to Rome. Let's listen in as Delaney responds to Amanda's decision to go to Rome.
Rome? Why would anyone want to go there? It's crowded and dirty. You're crazy to go to Rome. So how are you getting there?
We're taking Continental. We got a great rate.
Continental? That's a terrible airline. Their planes are all old, their flight attendants are ugly, and they're always late. So where are you staying in Rome?
We'll be at this exclusive little place over on Rome's Tiber River called Testi.
Don't go any further. I know that place. Everybody thinks it's going to be something special and exclusive, but it's really just a dump.
We're going to see the Vatican and maybe get to see the Pope.
Oh, that's rich. You and a million other people are going to be trying to see him. He'll look like the size of an ant. Boy, good luck on this lousy trip of yours. You're going to need it.
A month later, the woman again came in for a hairdo. The hairdresser asked her about her trip to Rome.
It was wonderful. Not only were we on time on one of Continental's brand new planes, but it was overbooked, and they bumped us to first class. The food and wine were wonderful, and I had a handsome 28-year-old steward who waited on me hand and foot. And the hotel, oh, it was fabulous. They just finished a $5 million remodeling job. Now it's a jewel, the finest hotel in the city. They too were overbooked. So they apologized and gave us their owner's suite at no extra charge.
Well, that's all well and good, but I know you didn't get to see the Pope.
Actually, we were quite lucky because as we toured the Vatican, a Swiss guard tapped me on the shoulder and explained that the Pope likes to meet some of the visitors, and if I'd be so kind as to step into his private room and wait, the Pope would personally greet me. Sure enough, 5 minutes later, the Pope walked through the door and shook my hand. I knelt down and he spoke a few words to me.
Oh, really? Well, what'd he say?
He said, "Who up your hair?"
Ridiculous, just ridiculous. Thank you for joining us for another production of Mornin Fiasco Piece Theater. This production was brought to you by the Nose Mower. Join us next time when you will hear the boys say,
Man, I wish that goat tied to the gate right there was Drew Barrymore.
Hell, I wish it was dark.
But the other day, I totally struck it, and I had to remind everybody that even though the Babe Ruth could hit a lot of home runs, he also struck out a lot.
Yeah, that is no lie. He really did.
Yeah, but our creative process was always really, really good and always really, really strong. Of course, we get, right as we got off, might be somebody in the office, all right, I'm off this right now. I mean,
yeah.
Never get that.
Or we'd go into the weekly morning show meeting with Crowman, when he'd go over all the stuff that's going on, all this kind of stuff. Then he'd pull up his phone and he's like, all right, this is the bad bit of the week. And I'd look at you and I'd go, I knew exactly which one it was every single time. He would always say, how do you know that? I was like, we knew it as soon as we turned the mics off,
Yeah. We know radio well enough to know what we didn't do right. But,
right.
That didn't happen too often. But if he found one of them a week, okay.
Yeah. That was the one time he was listening.
Gotta earn your pay, Crow. Earn your pay.
Yeah, and you and I got to spend a lot of time out in public on the stage and stuff, introing people and things like that in front of some massive crowds, man. Massive crowds. Who were some of the favorite shows that, in your mind, that we got to intro?
We're doing Ranch Bash and we're doing all those big shows like that, but we're also, we had the Friday Night Fiasco that we're doing over at Silver Saloon at Charlton Time when we had our setup and we're interviewing the artists and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's really, really hard because there's, just the music itself. There's so much good music out there. Because back then, we were doing shows with Cody Jinks, we're doing shows with Cody Johnson, we're doing shows with, all these people. Whiskey Myers, for instance, they were their first radio interview, and then went over to Gators, announced them, that week at the show. So we're the first one on that show. But there's just so many different kinds of music.
Right. I think the one that you're probably going to talk about and say was totally my screw up when we were at Tommy Alverson's family gathering.
Yeah.
We were going to intro Cornell Hurd.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was fun.
Oh, that had been a long week of drinking, man. And it was like a serious party time out there. But
what had happened was... we're going up there to the stage, to talk about the last act, talk about the next one coming up after this one here. And, of course, everybody loves Cora Blund.
Yeah.
And so then Nash proceeds to put the wrong name out there. It wasn't, he said Cora Blund. And so one of the band members just decided he was just going to chew Nash's ass. And Nash, I just can't really say what you said to him.
Yeah, I can. I'll tell it.
What?
Yeah, we were backstage after the show was over with, and the guy was like, Cornell was funny. He was laughing about it. He thought it was hilarious because you walked back up on stage and you said Cornell Hurd Band, so we got that all smoothed over. Well, after they finished playing, we were all standing backstage there with Tommy Alverson was standing there, and I think Crow might have been standing there, and there's a bunch of artists and stuff standing there. We were all just sitting there shooting the breeze and stuff, and this guy, one of the players in Cornell's band, was just on my ass, man. He just would not let it go, man. It's you're supposed to be a radio professional.
I was watching the veins on your neck just get, stand out further and further and further. Well, it's so good. You're about to blow.
Yeah, and I did. Finally, he just was riding my ass for about 15 minutes, man. And finally, I just looked at him and I said, you know what, man? Fuck you, and walked off. And everybody that was standing there dropped their beers and was rolling laughing.
I was just standing there waiting for it, man. It was so damn funny, man.
And we used to do weird news. We did weird news, and if we ever had an artist in studio with us, we always had the artist jump in with us and do one. And one of my favorite ones is when we had singer-songwriter named Heather Roberts in studio with us, and she got to do one, and it's just hilarious, her take off of it, and then also Carey Dean's take at the very end of it. So check this out. This is Weird News with Heather Roberts.
All right, Heather Roberts, our guest this morning.
Oh my goodness! Well, I know my husband's listening in on this, so he's going to get a huge kick out that y'all handed this one to me. So. Let's see. The headline is, dominatrix cited for not following fire safety rules.
Hello.
So apparently you obviously
That's why they don't get my business.
You got to have the safe word, I guess. Fire safety is just not good enough.
Yeah, fire. That don't work.
It's not. Yeah, it's not the same. Almost like it's getting a little hotter. Anyway, so it says, things got a little too hot for this dominatrix dungeon. Lorraine White, of 41, was recently fined for failing to follow fire safety rules at her S&M themed Medusa Club in the UK.
Whoa.
Leave it to the UK, right? I don't know. Firemen were unable to get into her building after a blaze broke out in the basement. Once they gained access, they found handcuffs, chains, whips, and other forms of bondage.
Happy birthday.
What is going on here? Anyway, the prosecutor said that White was questioned on the activities of the club, and she said nothing was too severe, as the prosecutor recounted. Slight bondage, possibly a mask or gag. It involved a lot of humiliation, doing domestic work, and dressing up in women's clothes.
Sounds like a radio job.
Sounds like he's playing with fire. Oh my gosh.
They were going to talk to some of the customers on their stores. They're a little tied up.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Had a gag order going on.
I'm so glad this is radio because I'm as red as a tomato.
Well, for somebody that doesn't usually do that, I think you whipped that out pretty good.
Yeah.
I whipped it out. Oh my God.
Oh man.
Okay, that's good.
So many things like that. Yeah, but when it comes, in this scene, and there are just so many good people that we seem to be able to work with. Some of them many times, and some of them a few. And
Yeah.
There's so many that stand out. That people say, "What's your favorite Texas music song?" I said, "Which style?"
Right. Yeah.
Like,
exactly. That's the thing about the Texas music is there are so many styles of it, and so many guys that we were the people that played a lot of the artists first because their hometown stations wouldn't play them. I mean, guys like Cody Johnson and Josh Ward and Jesse Robb and all that whole Montgomery County crew down there.
Yeah, just tons of people. It's just really, really hard to pick out a favorite show. There's a lot of. I remember when I were talking about Brandon Reiners when we're doing the Friday Night Fiasco, and we're at the Silver Saloon, and I decided, we just sat down and figure out an intro to intro us to the stage.
Yeah.
I just walked out cold. And so you and I sat down and got all the production elements and everything together and put together this thing. Had like thunderstorms and like Pink Floyd music in the background and horses running and trains. We got an announced Brandon Ryder after our intro, and he goes, "How in the hell am I supposed to follow that?" Do what you got to do, brother.
Your turn. Go ahead.
We're going to go get a Jägerbomb. We'll see you later.
Yeah.
There's a lot of memories and stuff like that from, great shows. And, and we're handing out beads one night at Gators. It's around
Mardi Gras.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So anyway, we're doing this Mardi Gras thing over at Gators. I can't remember who was playing that night, but you and I were throwing beads off the stage. And Mardi Gras, come on, you're getting beads.
You know how to get the beads, folks.
The oldest lady in the building.
Oh, yeah.
I was over the side of the stage, and I started calling you over there, and you looked at me like, "Why?" And I pointed, and said, "No, come here." I think every young girl in the room just left.
Yeah.
But there's just been so many fun times like that, though, with out there and out and about and live, and just we took our personalities everywhere we went. So that's what's cool about it.
All right, so as we were a while ago, we were talking about the Fiasco Piece Theater. So I think I'm going to play one of the Fiasco Piece Theaters that's probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite. Which Fiasco one? Piece Theater, The New Preacher.
Oh, yeah, Mother Green.
Even Mother Green. Right now, we're going to play The New Preacher at Fiasco Piece Theater.
And welcome to yet another Morning Fiasco Piece Theater. My name is Wilma Beardgrow, and this production is brought to you by Runner Up Baptist Church. Runner Up Baptist Church? You boys are ridiculous. Anyhow, this production is titled The New Preacher Gets a Glimpse. As we join these idiots, they are portraying Andy, the new preacher, and Tom, the old preacher, and they are discussing the job before they intro Andy to the congregation. Let's listen in.
Well, Brother Andy, we're certainly proud that you're coming in to lead our little church here.
Well, Brother Tom, I'm very proud to take over and continue the superb job that you have obviously handled for years.
Oh, you're all too kind, Brother Andy. By the way, do you have any questions before we start the service this morning?
As a matter of fact, I do, Brother Tom. Well, there is always that one person in the congregation that is kind of a busybody and keeps things kind of stirred up. You know what I'm talking about, I'm sure. Do you have anyone here like that?
Well, as a matter of fact, I think we do. That would be Mother Green. Just keep your eye on her and things will be just fine.
Brother Andy and Brother Tom take their places in the pulpit and the service begins.
Good morning, everyone. We're glad to see y'all in church this morning as we welcome our new preacher in. I'll go ahead and bring him into the podium now. I present to you Brother Andy. They're all yours, young man.
Thank you, Brother Tom.
Just as soon as Andy speaks, the double doors at the back of the church open up. And the biggest woman Andy has ever seen walks slowly through the doors and makes her way up the aisle and stands in the front row. She lifts up her dress as far as she can and has a seat.
Good morning, boys.
Let's listen as Andy turns to Tom and speaks.
Excuse me, brother, is that Mother Green?
No, I think that's just the way the light's shining on it.
Y'all are hellbound for sure. This has been another production of Morning Fiasco Piece Theater brought to you by Runner Up Baptist Church. Oh my word, y'all are so freaking stupid.
We're stupid.
You married John.
Join these clowns next time when you will hear them say,
"Hey, Doc, I think I got some moisture on my left knee. Any advice you can give me?"
Yeah, try aiming a little more to the right.
Yeah, these have walked the line a lot of times.
Okay, so the Morning Boys thing, tell everybody how that came about.
J.P. Fisher with Whiskey Fish, was a great friend of ours, and he does this impression of this old lady, and he'll call us, "Hello, boys."
Yeah.
And we would just have a conversation with him and talk to him on the air. And a lot of people don't know that was J.P. Fisher, but it was. Anyway, he would call in, and it was just always fun when he did. I mean, we had characters. We had Doug Guy, was our drunk that called in for years, or he was in the studio.
Yeah.
We created characters like that. We weren't afraid of characters like that because it was just kind of part of who we were. So Fiasco Piece Theater stuff is just flipping hilarious. But I can remember so many more of them. I remember the guy was going to college to learn logic. And we did one about the beautician and the lady sitting in the chair was going on vacation. He's going to Rome. Played different parts, and all these different things and stuff. And, that's what made it fun. I mean, we're able to just take things on and run with it, not be embarrassed about it, just let go.
Yeah, no doubt. That was always the funnest part about that because we had the character. So we'll talk about Doug Guy. He was another one of our roving characters that would pop in every now and then, and he was.
I'm still not going to tell who he is.
He's been outed. He was outed years ago.
I know that.
But he don't really care anymore. But it was a buddy of ours that decided he wanted to do that. Actually, he called in one morning.
Yeah,
that's how it all started. He called in, and we didn't know who it was at first.
Well, he had talked to me personally about it at one point and said, "What do I need to do to develop this character?" I said, "Go watch all the Foster Brooks you can, then call." Well, of course, I forgot about it. But then all of a sudden the phone rings, and here we go.
Yeah, it was crazy. But after he did that first one, and then he watched the Foster Brooks stuff. Dude, it was some of the best bits. And then you ended up writing a lot of his bits for him, didn't you?
Yeah.
Because he ain't that creative.
He said, y'all, I've got nothing. I said, oh, my gosh, hold on a second. So we'd sit there and we'd write something for him, He made up his wife and her sister, mother-in-law, whatever else, He just always had something.
Yeah.
Still got his whiskey bottle in the studio.
Yeah.
Not that he drank, just pull the cork out.
So Doug Guys started out as just our friend. Then all of a sudden he was the janitor for a while, and then he was the security guard overnight for a while, and then he decided he wanted to be our manager at one point. And see, folks, people like that. I mean, whenever you have things like that, that's how you create and go forward with other bits and stuff. Because at that point, you've got this main idea. And then all of a sudden, just ideas for down the road and 4 or 5 or 6 other bits that you can create off of just one little bitty thing. And that was one of the great things that we always did.
Yeah, just being creative and working with it. You and I were one night at one of Drewsy's deals Thanksgiving deal over in Ennis. Jamie Richards playing, or Doda was there. You were having a really good time. I was like,
I was buzzed, y'all.
You were a chainsaw. And so you said, okay, I'll handle the mic, and you said, no, I'll go first. And I said, okay, so some time passed by before everything really caught up with you. And we go to the stage, and I'm standing on one mic, and you're standing on the other. And I realized when you started talking, I just went over to sit beside you and acted like I was doing sign language.
Yeah, the crowd was loving that stuff. They always loved seeing us out doing stuff that we would do on the morning show, doing it live in front of them. And they were like, did y'all plan that out? Nope, not a bit of it.
We're out there, but we're doing toast, and hanging out with the crowd. Do good. And people. That's one thing people always said. They said, "We really dig y'all because y'all actually hang out with people. You're not stuffy and and hoity-toity and all that crap."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's like I was telling in the last episode there. As I was talking about you and our relationship, it's like it was the funniest thing because we started out as not really knowing each other or caring about each other at all. But then over the years, we grew into a relationship to where we are like literally brothers, We know each other so well. Hell, we know each other better than our wives know us,
Which one?
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's see. I've had 3 or 4 relationships since then.
Don't worry about that, man. 5 out of 4 people can't do math. Don't worry about it.
You got that right, man.
But that's one thing about that relationship too, because we saw each other and still do. Still see each other through things. We still talk. All the time.
Yeah.
Enough to ask a question about what we talked about last time. What we talked about, we've always remained really, really close.
Yeah. Carey Dean will call me some nights. Is like my wife and I are sitting around playing dominoes or something at the house, drinking beer and stuff. And he'll call and about 7:00 and Lord, 5 hours later, we're still talking. The last one that we did, my wife says, I got to start recording those because it's just like y'all are on the air whenever y'all are sitting there talking. And it is.
No, it's not because the FCC is not involved.
Yeah, that. Yeah. The FCC would not approve of a lot of stuff. That stuff we talk about.
We just had that conversation. Nobody got fired. We're good.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, so tell everybody a little bit about your morning show that you have now.
Well, yeah, JoJo and I, JoJo and I have worked together for, I think she's been here now 7, 8 years.
Yeah.
And, you were here when JoJo was here when she first got here. So when you left here, then I started bringing JoJo into the studio. And so, JoJo now won, some awards together and stuff. And she's hilarious. She's flipping hilarious.
Yeah.
She's a Taekwondo instructor pretty much bald with bangs.
Yeah.
So she's an edgy person and she's hilarious. I'll tell you one of the funniest things that we said. I came up with this bit called Things You Should Know. We would start to try to out-fact each other. And these weren't anything we could find on show prep stuff. It's just not there. we would actually go and search out our own facts and then present them to each other live on the air without saying, this is what it's about, this is what it's about, whatever. That way we get natural reactions. And so I said, okay, so today, my thing you should know, I'm going to outer space with mine. And I said, did you know that you can fit 67 Earths in Uranus? And she said 68 if you relax.
That's spontaneous, man. That is very spontaneous.
She's really, really quick and she's good. And, and her big thing, and we talk about it a lot because she is a Taekwondo instructor, is her big thing is she's been talking about writing this book and selling just one of them for a lot of money. But it's called Everything is a Weapon. And so a lot of times she'll incorporate that into a story. That's what we're doing. We're just like, I told you everything's a weapon. Somebody's always hitting somebody with, a pomegranate or a truck or,
right.
And so that kind of flows with her. Everything's a weapon. No, she's really cool. She's really good. She's genuine. She's fun. And, she just, she has got this certain attitude that she is really, really cool. She's only in on 2 hours of the show. I did the first half by myself.
See, I'm having to do a morning show by myself now, too, and I find myself still to this day, I left there in 2017. I still to this day look over to my right, looking for Carey Dean over there. It's weird.
Yeah, and I get here, by myself in the morning, and I have nobody to complain to about what made me late. No, but I mean, it was kind of weird for just a small bit. But after that small bit there, then it was JoJo throwing stuff at you. It was kind of hard at first to get used to doing a show, by myself, and it would just, I was like, I don't know, man, I don't know.
I know it's tough.
I started getting used to it and started having fun with it. I realized a lot of times when I'm talking anyway, whether somebody's here or not.
No.
Whether somebody's here or not, so I just started treating it like that.
See, and it's weird though, because when you're in the studio with somebody else, it's a psychological thing because that other person's listening to you. But when you're sitting in that studio by yourself, man, it's kind of like you don't know if anybody's listening at all, but people are listening. It's just a psychological. Oh, yeah. And we ran out of Zoom time, so thanks to Carey Dean at 106.9 The Ranch in Corsicana for joining me. As man, we had some really, really good times. We're going to do another session together down the road because I just can't not do one because we had so many crazy good times together that we've got to do another show. So we'll definitely do that. But, the thing about doing a morning show is, which a lot of people will ask us, and Carey Dean could attest to this as well, you have to have a certain mind frame to do a morning show. I mean, I see memes and stuff all the time about eat dinner at 5 o'clock and go to bed at 7 o'clock. And, they were on to something, them old folks was when we was making fun of them. Yeah, they were on to something, all right. One of them was probably a morning show host. But, yeah, that's the mind frame that you have to be in, I get up at 4 o'clock every morning, and I'm here at the station by 5 o'clock and getting show prep done and everything and kicking off at 6 o'clock. And it's a mind frame. You have to do that, and you get your show prep done. And while you're doing your show prep, you visualize the bit. And that's difficult too sometimes, because you have to look at things that are around you in the world, what's going on in the world around you, and what will that listener want to hear? Will they relate to that? That's the big thing right there. And that was one thing Carey Dean and I, we used comedy to relate to people. And a lot of times that would work. Me sitting in here by myself, I could laugh at myself all day long. Whether or not it's funny or not, that's another thing. So before I get out of here, we were talking about the bad joke of the day and things like that. So I'm going to play you a bad joke of the day that we did, and it is one of my favorite ones that I ever did too. And this one is called One Free Wish, and this is how we did the incredibly bad joke of the day.
It's the time of the morning that may or may not work out. It's the incredibly bad joke of the day.
Well, you got some good ringage there.
Well, that was pretty good right there.
Good job, man.
All right. It's time for the incredibly bad joke of today. What is the title of today's joke?
One free wish.
One free wish.
Yes, sir.
Let's hear it.
A family was driving their car on a holiday and a frog crosses the road, and the husband who was driving there was able to stop the car.
Mm-hmm.
He gets out to take takes the frog and carries him to the side of the road there. The frog was very grateful. He thanks the man, tells him that he's going to grant him a wish.
What a nice frog.
Yeah, the man says, please make my dog win the next dog race. So the frog there asks to take a look at the dog. Dog jumps out of the car, and the frog notices that the dog has only 3 legs.
Uh-oh.
He tells the man, he goes, man, I think that's going to be an impossible wish to fulfill. And he asks the man to make another wish. So the man says, well, then please help my wife win the next beauty contest in the area. The frog says, well, have your wife get out here so I can take a look at her. So she gets out of the car, and wife comes over there and approaches the frog. The frog looks at the guy, and he goes, can I please have another look at the dog?
Oh, no.
In all the years that Carey Dean and I worked together, I always said, I get to go to work and have fun. How many people can honestly say that in their job? I get to go to work and have fun. It was never a job to me. Going in and doing the morning show with Carey Dean, ever, was not a job. And there was times when he and I both would come in hungover as hell from the night before, or we'd been out late on a Sunday night doing, a show at the Rocket Cafe or something, and we'd both straggle in there and just struggle. But the thing is, nobody ever knew it. It was showtime. When you turn that mic on and that intro's playing, it's showtime. And you can't let what's going on in your world affect your on-air presence. I always have run by a rule. My wife and I could be arguing. We could be in a disagreement, arguing, fussing, and fighting, but I leave it outside that studio door. When I'm doing my show, I'm doing my show. We'll discuss this stuff later on, but while I'm entertaining people and informing people, I'm doing my job, and I leave it outside the door. And I always think a lot of radio people don't do that. I've heard radio people drag their lives into their job. Well, Carey Dean and I used to drag our lives into our job. It was always in a relatable way to someone else that might have been listening. So we always brought it in as an entertainment aspect. And that's how we kind of played it off. And man, there was sometimes we would be talking about our wives, and we both were like, man, I want to go drink a beer before I go home. Oh, yeah, me too. I don't want to go home yet, because we knew we were going to catch hell when we got home, because we had been talking about one of the wives or something, and they had been talking, and yeah, it was kind of a snowball effect. But we always managed to survive it one way or another, and always ended up having good times. And as I told you in episode 2, Carey Dean, absolutely my brother. I always cherish the friendship that he and I have and the brotherhood that we have. And Carey Dean and I won 7 Air Personality of the Year awards from the Texas Regional Radio Music Awards. That is fan voted. We've always been so grateful to the fans, the radio fans that have listened to us over the years, and it's just been a pleasure being on the air with everybody, and everybody liking what we're doing, liking what I'm doing now, and it's a fine line there, and we greatly appreciate all of that, though. And I'm gonna get him back on at some point later on down the road, and once we kind of figure out the technical difficulty thing that we were having there. And we'll definitely have him back on. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this week's show. I enjoyed doing it. I always enjoyed just getting on and talking to Carey because he's my brother. That's the way he is. So that is that for another edition of Behind the Mic with Nash. Hey, I want to invite y'all to like and follow all of the different platforms where you find Behind the Mic with Nash. And like me on the social medias. I've got a Facebook page. Hope you'll follow all of those. And give a like to it, share it. And also, if you'd like to listen to my live radio show Monday through Friday on the Texas Knockout 105.7 in Beeville, Texas, all you have to do is go to TexasKnockout1057.com and click the live link, and it'll be right there. I'll be there with you Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., and share it with anybody and everybody that'll listen to it, as I really enjoy doing Behind the Mic with Nash. That's going to do it for me. Y'all have a blessed week, and I'll see you next time for another edition of Behind the Mic with Nash. Thanks for joining me for Behind the Mic with Nash. If you have a comment or a topic suggestion, you can always email me at behindthemicwithnash@gmail.com. Be sure to like and follow Behind the Mic with Nash on all social medias and follow and share the Spotify page as well. Have a blessed week, and God bless America, and God bless Texas Red Dirt Music.